Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maryam Akhtar and I'm from the Department of BS Chemistry. My ID is 004 and this is the course of Industrial Chemistry. And my first topic is of paint strippers. So let me take a start with the presentation layout of this presentation. So first I'm going to talk about its introduction, role of paint strippers, factors, types of paint strippers and how they are applied on the surface and how they can remove the paint, how to use the paint stripper correctly, basic principle of the paint strippers, what we do or what we don't in this paint strippers, what are the precautionary measures, removal of paint from the different surfaces, from the wood or the brick. There are 13 different types of paint strippers. Example of these are DSP 800, Rust-Oleum Hardhand, and Environmental Pros. Then we'll go to talk about ingredient, active ingredient, caustic and solvent-based paint strippers, preparation of these paint strippers, stripping from different surfaces, impact on environment and man. And after that, I'll conclude my presentation. So let's take a start with the paint and the qualities of paint. Paint are defined as a liquid solution of a pigment, coloring material, and a solvent, which is applied on the different surfaces for the decorative or preparative reason. The good qualities of paint include good hiding powder, color, resistance, easy application. So what is paint stripper and what's its role? A paint stripper is simply a paint remover or a substance that removes the layers of the varnish, enamel, or glue that has been applied to the piece of the furniture or another type of the surface of any material, for example, wood, metal, and tiles. Direct access to the material is required when we are preparing to restore a piece of the furniture, and a clean and a smooth surface is required for the application of any kind of treatment or paint. But what exactly is the role of the paint stripper? There are surfaces which already have paint and certain varnishes on them, and we therefore can't remove them directly, as the new layers of the paint wouldn't adhere properly. This happens, for example, with epoxy floor paints or also with many furniture varnishes. So it's necessary to use a paint stripper to remove this layer. From here, we can see the stripping of paint on the metal surface. What is the method and what are the factors affecting the stripping of paint? The layer can be removed in two ways: by sanding the entire surface down, by applying a paint stripper that removes the layers of the paint or varnish. What are the factors? How you strip and what type of stripper is best depends on the surface and the layers to be removed, especially when it's come to the removing many layers of the paint or removing rust from the metal surface. So, what is the composition for the paint stripper? A paint stripper composition enables to remove a variety of paint systems employing methylene chloride as an active solvent for decomposition. Further include amine glycolic acid having pH of 5, which aids the swelling of the subsurface of the paint system that is to be removed, thus allowing the permeation of the salt complex in conjunction with the chloride ion promotion of the methyl chloride to cause releasing action of the paint bond from the substrate material such as metal, wood, glass, etc. The composition is substantially totally biodegradable, is low in toxicity, and is further characterized by the variety of paint system. What are the types and application of the strippers? If you're going to remove paint from different surfaces, what are their application methods? Strippers are the thick substance, so it's normal to use the term stripper gel, which is composed of two solvents which can be responsible for soaking into the surface, while the other acts on the topmost layer. This way, it's possible to eliminate all the previous application and to have them come to the surface in a wrinkled layer that is easy to remove without damaging the structure of the surface. In the case, how to remove paint from the wood. A specific paint stripper is usually the most convenient as it acts as a surface without darkening it or leaving stains or marks. So there will be no bruises on the surface of the wood. In case of wanting to strip wood, it is most important to apply the material and spread them in the direction of a grain, removing excess of the product and dry residue. How? Now, if we are going to remove the paint from the metallic material, then the procedure is very similar, but in this case, given strength of the material, it is very usually necessary to use spatula or brush to remove the debris and make the surface uniform. So, to remove paint residue from the layers or residue, the longest stripper and one of the most recommended by is Quetumanchel, a semi-jellified paint stripper that removes paint from all the types of the surface and is very easy to apply and clean. Application. How it is applied. The thick structure of the this type of paint stripper facilitates its application on all types of surface by resolving external layer of the paint for its ideal. For example, stripping paint from the tiles without being abrasive and affecting the finish and shine of the material. So, how to use the paint stripper correctly? If you're going to apply a paint stripper and you want it to be more effective without spoiling the surface of to be treated, these are the steps that should be considered by a stripper. Apply the paint stripper with a stable size brush which depend upon the surface. Before applying it, assess material must not be removed, and the stripper should be spread in thick regular wear. After allowing the paint stripper to act for 10 to 20 minutes, it will be created a soft film on the surface that can be removed easily with a spatula, brush, or scraper. Then remove all the traces of the paint remover. It is the best to clean the surface with the help of brush and water. In some wood metal material, it may be necessary to add turpentine to rinse to completely remove all the stripping material. Before we continue to treat the surface, we must let it dry for 24 to 48 hours to remove any moisture and make it easier to remove any residue left over from the application of the paint stripper. Now the surface is ready to be treated either by applying a new paint, enamel, varnish, or protective treatment. So, what is the basic principle of the paint stripper? An effective paint and removal process should not damage the substrate. It should be able to the paint to be completely removed from the surface. Our product make all this possible by dissolving the paint to be residue. Remove the paint, not the surface underneath. This is the main motto of this paint stripper. And for that, use the right product for each job. Trial packs for the testing is very essential. Paint or coating analysis is very important procedure of this paint stripper. Contractors. So, what can be removed? Virtually any coating can be removed from virtually any surface. Lime wash, not should be confused with the whitewash, is one cure, a thin layer of the limestone. Like cement mortar, it can be slowly dissolved with acidic cleaner, but the process is extremely time consuming as the product has to continually re-applied on brickwood, try acetylene, liberally applied, brushed over every 2 or 3 minutes. So, where limelash is relieved. After removing an overlayer paint layer, the options are generally if the lime wash layer is thin and patchy, consider attempting removal via the method described above. Always a test, always do a test on sample area. Or trial packs are for this is very important. With a July job, do ensure that the in area where do you test is represented on the surface area. While doing test, do experiment. While doing test, always do watch the residue. This often unexpectedly crucial for the result. Types of strippers. There are two types of strippers, caustic and solvent based. Caustic paint remover typically solution contains sodium hydroxide, caustic soda, work by breaking down the chemical bonds of the paint, usually the hydrolysis of the chain bond of the polymers forming the paint. Caustic remover must be neutralized or new finish will fail prematurely. In addition, several side effects and health risks must be taken in account in using caustic paint removers. Such caustic aqueous solutions are typically used by the antiques dealer who aim to restore old furniture. Solvent-based strippers. Solvent-based strippers work by breaking the bond between the object and the paint. The ingredient work by swelling the paint and weakening the adhesion of the paint to the surface. The solvent-based stripper category also include water-based technology as water would be solvent in these products. Most will also contain small amount of solvent in the chemical makeup. Historically, solvent-based strippers used to contain an ingredient called methylene chloride. As this chemical compound posed many health risks, European Union has banned the use of chemical in the paint stripper for the consumer in 2010. The use of methylene chloride product is now restricted to workshop only. What type of paint stripper to use? Whether you need to use caustic or solvent period, it's entirely depend upon the correct surface. Generally, solvent-based paint strippers are the medium to use and are not that good at removing thick layer of the buildup paint. They do provide a clear and a clean finish with no damage or staining. They also tend to be slightly more expensive. Caustic paint remover are good to use to remove thick layers of the paint and are great to use on surfaces with detailed molding due to its consistency. Modern formulations such as pro-coating remover from roll-in paints contain benzyl alcohol, which penetrates multiple layers very easily with preparation. It's just like any project, undertaking the correct preparation procedure is vital to the success of your project. Usually, removing paint from the brick and other surface is best done earlier in a year, when the surface material has been months to dry out properly. When it's done too close to winter, when there is a change of freezing water, you run the risk of the moisture freezing and causing additional damage to your property. It is not advisable to use removers containing caustic alkali such as caustic soda. These chemicals penetrate the substance, attracting moisture, become hygroscopic as the neutralizer often doesn't tend to penetrate as deep as the caustic alkali. Thus, this can lead to the future dam issues as well as coating adhesion properties problem. Now I'm going to talk about the ingredients with their effects on the environment. Methylene chloride. This chemical, also known as dichloromethane or DCM, is an active reagent in many chemical strippers. Extreme caution should be used using paint stripper containing the ingredients. Some methylene paint strippers are flammable, while others are not. The flammable one contain less methylene chloride but contain the chemicals acetone, toluene, and methanol. This combination of chemical possesses some potentially serious health risks. In addition to flammable, it's extremely dangerous to breathe in high quantities of the fumes from these chemicals. Doing so may result in brain damage, injury to unborn children. All the chemical stripper containing methylene chloride should be used in well-ventilated area or outdoor if possible. Because this chemical is a carcinogen, meaning it is linked with cancer, its fumes should not be inhaled. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, inhaling methylene chloride can irritate the eyes, skin, nose, and lung. It can also cause dizziness, headache, and lack of the coordination. Your body also converts some inhaled methylene to carbon monoxide, which can cause additional problems, especially for those who have existing medical condition. Calcium hydroxide is an active reagent in some paint strippers that are as sold as powder and designed to be mixed with water to make cream. Calcium hydroxide paint stripper, such as powdered milk paint remover, do not emit harsh fume as therefore pose less health risk to those who have them. Furthermore, they are not flammable and they are therefore safer for use in heated room. However, these paint strippers may irritate your skin after prolonged contact, and medical attention should be sought if they are swallowed or brought into contact with your eyes. Lemon. Lemon, a natural solvent that is extracted from the citrus peel, is commonly found in the paint stripper used by these who seek an alternative to toxic chemicals. It is commonly used in soap, air freshener, lending a safer and a pleasant experience to those who use it. Product made with it used is highly considered form tends to be economically friendly as well, since large amount of product can be made with relatively small amount of laminin. There are no long-term health risks associated with the laminin, but it as with the substance, allergic reaction are possible. It should be not brought in contact with the eyes. Use the same protective measure such as glove, goggles when using paint remover containing this active reagent. Now we're going to talk about the active reagent which have we discussed in the previous as an ingredient. So dichloromethane or DCM, which is also called methylene chloride, has a serious health risk issue, is likely to be carcinogen and banned in some countries for consumer use. Solvent strippers may also have formulation with lemon for the orange peel and N-methyl pyrrolidone esters as dye-based ester, sometimes ammoniated. For example, diadipic acid or glutamic acid, aromatic hydrocarbon, formamide, and other solvents are always known. The formula differ according to the type of the paint and character of the underlying. Nitromethane is another commonly used solvent. Dimethyl sulfoxide is less toxic alternate solvent in some formulation. Paint stripper come in liquid or gel thiotropic form that clings over the vertical surface. Active ingredients that are used include compounds such as N-methylpyrrolidine, methyl alcohol, as well as alkyline carbonate such as propylene carbonate or ethylene carbonate. Furthermore, carboxylic esters are also used in patterns benzoic acid methyl ester as well as methyl ester of dicarboxylic acid, such as succinic acid, glutamic acid, and adipic acid. Moreover, we can use ester like ethyl acetate, methyl acetate, etc. The parent also described compound as alkyl derivative of carboxylic acid amine, dicarboxylic acid, hydroxylic acid, and alkoxylic aromatic alcohols. So let's talk about the examples. The first one is DSP 800, and second one is Rust-Oleum hard hat greener paint stripper. So DSP 800 is extremely powerful and versatile solvent based paint stripper, and that has been formulated without EU banned chemicals. DSP can be used to remove moist coating, including single and two pack alkyl alkylides, polyurethanes, epoxies, cellulose, RSE, semi-thick coating, etc., even carpet glue. It can also apply to virtually any substance type apart from plastic. There is a fast working paint stripper and surfaces can be recoating as little as 6 hours. But if we are going to talk about the two Rust-Oleum hard greener paint stripper, which is the second example that I've quoted here, is formulated without methylene chloride and is designed to offer quick removal of the tough paint coating in a matter of minutes. You can use greener paint for the stripping paint both internally and externally. It is environmentally friendly. You can use this to remove a variety of paints and products. This include emulsion, alkyls, varnishes, and most two-component tough coating. This is suitable for the paint remover from metal, mineral, wooden, and substrate. You can also use it on plastic surfaces. So if you're going to talk about how it is prepared, then we'll come to know that we have to prepare the substance you intended to strip by scraping the surface to remove such loose materials as possible. Next, carefully open the container and using a disposal brush. Do not use synthetic brushes. Apply a thick, even layer to the surface. Allow the product to stand for 10 to 15 minutes using a filling knife or a paint scraper to remove the layers of paint from the surface. Only the coating that has been stripped away thoroughly clean the surface with either Rust-Oleum anti-fourteen cleaner or degreaser, fresh water or high pressure steam, and allow to fully dry before applying any paint or coating. Envirmos Pro water-based Artex remover. It's incorporate a cutting-edge formula for the quick and easy removal of the Artex. Other texture coating, you can use this extensively in the asbestos removal industry along with the contract stripping company. It has been supplying in bulk to asbestos company. They continuously feedback how to apply the wire most. Before applying across the whole area, it is best practice to establish correct removal timing and suitability. Always test an inconspicuous area before use. Create six small test sample more than 50 mm round liquid generous. Apply the six samples at the same time. Space sufficiently apart to allow individual washing and removal. Remove one sample at a time at 60-minute interval. Following the above test, using a suitable brush, apply a generous, even coating. Let the stripper work into the surface. Remove all the coating by using a stripper and stainless steel scald in a dipped soapy water. Allow the surface to fully dry before applying any paint or coating. So, if you're going to remove from different surfaces, first we're going to talk about how to remove paint from the wood. If you want to strip a layer of the varnish or paint or chemical stripping tends to be easier than sanding or sandblasting for wood. It is less harsh on wood, and when you are dealing with intricately carved ornament, you will not risk of having to sand down some their detail. Choosing the right paint stripper for the wood depends upon whether you are dealing with this skirting board or flooring or wooden furniture, for example. Do you want to keep natural look of the wood, or will the wood will be recoated in different color paints? So, if you want to keep the natural look and feel the wood, there is no intricate carving and surface has not previously coated in a thick layer of the paint. Solvent-based paint remover could be the way to go as caustic paint remover can cause staining. If you are dealing with beautifully carved surface with a thick layer of paint, the risk of staining or scorching is not an issue. Caustic remover must be better option. Back testing is always recommended as well as closely following manufacturer instructions for each product. If you're going to remove the paint from the brickwork, as hinted above, there are ways of removing paint from brickwork. One of the quickest way might be to take a power washer or sandblasting it off. The problem is that it more likely to damage the brickwork underneath the paint. This type of treatment can be called brickwork to become brittle or porous at the end of the day can cause irreparable damage to your brick. Depending the size of your project, be aware that removing paint from the brickwork can be very time consuming. It can also very important to do a test pad to ensure the effectiveness of the paint removal. Choosing a paint stripper that has been decided is a very important task. So if we are going to removing the paint from the stonework, unlike abrasive or mechanical system or product are well suited to removing paint from internal and external stonework. Only the paint is removed, not the surface of the stonework. The dissolved paint is simply washed from the pour, then our paint remover are used on the side of the stonework, from columns to coins, from staircases to fireplaces, and from walls to windows. Which product will be used for oil-based paint, kaolin strip for masonry paint, for emulsion, solvay strips. If you're going to remove the paint from ornate glasswork, which product will be used? A thick layer of the distemper emulsion, which often complete clog and obscure the fine detail of the ornate plaster seats, and the cling strip will be used. So there are 13 different paint strippers tool: paint scraper, wire brushes, electric paint remover, paint and varnishes, etc. So this will be discussed in the next presentation. So, what are the safety measures or precautions for the paint stripper? Read the label, read and follow all the safety instruction on the product label. Work outside. Using paint stripper indoor will contaminate the air, putting the people inside at risk. Keep fume from spreading. If working inside, turn your furnace gas off before starting. Tap over the air supply and return register. Ventilate, make your work area is well ventilated. Protect yourself. Wear a mask or wash it off. If you get paint stripper on your skin or in your eye, wash it off right away, immediately. Do not eat or drink the paint stripper. Do not light up anything that causes spark or static electricity out of your area. Get help. Consider hiring a professional if you don't want to expose to the hazards of the paint stripper. Local laws: lead-based paint is banned in United States, removing all lead-based paint that can disperse lead and cause lead poisoning. These are the references, and that's all from my side. Thank you.